Good evening and welcome to Paramount City Hall. This is a special notice that pursuant to Executive Order N-29-20 executed by the Governor of California on March 17, 2020, and as a response to mitigating the spread of coronavirus known as COVID-19, the meeting of the City Council scheduled for Tuesday, January 26, 2021 at 5 p.m. will allow members of the public to participate and address the City Council during this open session of the meeting via live stream and or teleconference only. And with that, I will now turn it over to Mayor Peggy Lemons to start our meeting. Mayor Lemons?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. We're going to call to order the Paramount City Council meeting for January 26, 2021. And if we could have roll call of council, please.
Councilmember Aguayo.
Here.
Councilmember Guillen.
Here.
Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. Vice Mayor Olmos.
I'm here.
Mayor Lemons.
Here. Do I have a motion to excuse Cuellar Stallings?
So moved, Olmos.
Second, Aguayo. Moved by Olmos, seconded by Aguayo, that we excuse Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. At this time, do we have any City Council public comment updates?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Do we have public comment?
Yes, ma'am, we do have one, and it is a verbal one, so I'll turn it over to Andrew Villalpando, who will contact the public commenter.
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Alejandro Yanez. Hi, Mr. Yanez. This is the City of Paramount. We're calling you regarding your request for public comment at the City Council meeting for this evening. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes and you're being broadcast live to the City Council. You can start now.
Hello and good afternoon. I'm Alejandro Yanez, longtime resident of Paramount, 48 years. I'd like to start off by wishing councilwomen a happy belated new year, as well as the city staff. I pray for health for everyone in the city, as well as throughout the country, that we may all remain safe and COVID-free. Although it's a new year, our goal remains the same, to bring back our handball recreational outdoor activity. Last November in 2020, I addressed council with a question to the longest-serving councilwoman of 27 years. If allowed, Madam Mayor, you commented on a request for handball courts and backed by Parks and Recreation Director that handball did not score well and showed low interest via residents' participation. Bringing to the question, in 27 years, did you ever meet with or speak to any handball resident prior to making a decision to vote to remove our handball courts and replace it with futsal? I have a few questions of which I expect to continue to be ignored or not given an answer to. I understand that through posts that I have made via social media and expressing my First Amendment right to free speech, we've expressed that we feel discriminated against by Parks and Recreation Director. I have submitted to Paramount City Human Resources stating as such. After a review, it was forwarded to City Attorney, who reviewed it and forwarded to third-party attorneys that represent the city, who as well reviewed it and came back to state 10 years exceeds the statute of limitations for claims of discrimination. Should we wish to proceed, it is advised we seek counsel immediately. Our request is for handball recreation to be rebuilt and returned to those who participated greatly in Parks and Recreation. Our goal was never in mind to seek counsel and to seek monetary compensation against the very same city in which we would just like to enjoy our choice of recreation. Although we do remain discriminated against, suing our city goes against our belief in any monetary money won or lost in both the city and us would be a negative history mark regarding relations. Point being, we shouldn't have to sue the city to make our point. We have no recreation for young adults, middle-aged adults, and older adults. In the past 10 years, city tried co-ed softball, a failed and failed miserably. Given the fact one councilwoman spent 14 years grooming young women in softball and could not gather enough women for one night, handball players participated every day, Monday through Friday, sun up till 10 p.m. when the lights would get cut off. 50 players was
Mr. Yanez, you have 20 seconds left.
50 players was a sole sport in our day. Residents participated every day. 10 years of requesting funds. P.S. Our condolences to the families affected by COVID. And P.S.S. Our respects to Kobe Bryant and the lives lost on this anniversary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Was that our only speaker?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve?
This is Councilmember Aguayo. I move to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilmember Aguayo, seconded by Vice Mayor Olmos, that we approve the consent calendar. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. With that, we'll move on to new business. Item number 2, budget adjustment to retain a qualified consultant to conduct an employee compensation analysis. We have a staff report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do. This first item is a budget adjustment to hire a consultant to update the employee compensation study. When we first did the city's very first employee classification and compensation study about 3 years ago, we indicated that the compensation portion of the study that it would be updated every 2 to 3 years to ensure that the employees' salaries stay competitive with the overall market as well as with our surrounding cities. So again, just to reiterate, we are asking only for the City Council's approval to add this expense in this year's budget to hire a consultant. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Andrew Villalpando, who will handle the item. Andrew?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno, and good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. Back in 2018, as John alluded to, we commissioned our first comprehensive classification and compensation study. These are pretty common in human resources as they provide staff and the organization as a whole a good idea of the analysis of where our classification, our positions, including their descriptions, and our compensations lie with regard and respect to the market. So at that time, the study resulted in updates to all of our descriptions of our different city job classifications, as well as included a comparative analysis to ensure that we were competitive within our labor market to recruit and retain top talented employees. It's best practice to complete a compensation study every 3 years or so, and as I just mentioned, the last time we did ours was just about 3 years ago in 2018. Given the time that's lapsed since then, we recommend conducting another study, mostly because these sorts of studies help staff make solid, concrete budgetary decisions as we move forward. As we begin to do our budget development for the fiscal year 2022 year, we're going to start that in the next few weeks here. And we estimate that a compensation study of an organization our size should take between 8 to 10 weeks. So needless to say, time is a bit of the essence here. In any compensation study, I think it's important to note that it does not imply whatsoever that the analysis will automatically result in cost of living adjustments or raises. That's not what a compensation study is for. A compensation study is a preliminary step to conduct a thorough analysis, as we mentioned, just to ensure that our rates are consistent and competitive with other cities around us. So with that said, if there were any recommendations from the study, as this is just a preliminary step, of course we would bring that back before the City Council for any decisions or recommendations. The approximate cost we've been looking around so far, we do believe at this point that it will be less than what we've put into the staff report, which we approximated about $35,000 for just the compensation study. We're not going to do the classification study this time. And early indications do seem to we do seem to believe that according to estimates that we received from firms, it should fall below that mark. So that's good. That's a good thing. Regardless of this amount would fall within the city manager's purchasing authority for professional services pursuant to section 1830 of the purchasing policy. And because this project is not included in the current budget, we are requesting an adjustment to the current fiscal 2021 adopted budget. So with that, it's recommended that the City Council approve this budget adjustment of $35,000 to the current fiscal 2021 adopted budget to retain a qualified consultant to conduct a compensation analysis. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Andrew. Are there questions for staff?
I have one question, Andrew. Since this is going to be less than 40,000, and you did cover my initial question was, why wouldn't the city manager be able to just go ahead and approve? But you said that this amount was for the initial cost of finding a consultant. So will there be anything in the contract to say that everything has to be concluded within that 35? Because what I don't want to see is like, a month ago or so, we had another contract where they weren't able to complete it with the initial, I don't remember how much it was, and then we had to approve an additional 17,000. So I just want to make sure that it spells out correctly that it will be completed within that price range, and then also have in there the time frame, because I know we had never had a comp study before, and the last one took, I think, about a year. So just those are my two concerns: time and conclusion of the amount.
Yes, Councilmember Guillen, those are both great questions, and the short answer is absolutely yes. We will definitely build a time frame into the scope of work. Using lessons learned from past experiences, absolutely. The time frame and delays that we experienced last time will certainly drive our search for qualified firm this time.
And then I would like to request that with the recommendations that were made last time from our last study, just if we could get an update as to what was actually implemented from that last study, so that we can have a general idea of what we're looking to seek, to get out of this new contract. So if they recommended that we create 3 additional positions, how many of those positions did we create? As an example, I don't know that they recommended 3 or what have you, but if we could do that as well, that would be helpful to take a look at.
Sure. So our intention with the compensation study, and the example that you actually provided would be more of the classification study, where we would consider, expanding or contracting positions and classifications. This would be solely for the market price point of salaries and compensation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Are there any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, almost.
Second, Guillen.
Moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilmember Guillen. Can we have a roll call to approve the item?
Council-
For an adjustment of $35,000 to the fiscal year 2021 to retain a qualified consultant to conduct station analysis. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next, we have an oral report on the Paramount Works app.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The Paramount Works app has been functioning for some time now and has been actually a great tool for residents to report things to us. If you've never used this app, this presentation will show you how easy it is to use, and we'll also have some statistics to share with you. We also wanted to do this presentation so that the public can see there's another avenue in which to report things to the city, so that we can take care of our town and keep it looking nice. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant Director of Public Works, Ms. Sarah Ho, who will conduct the presentation. Sarah?
Thank you, John. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. In October of 2014, Paramount launched the Paramount Works app for the community to report issues directly to the city on a quick and easy mobile platform. Sorry, give me 1 second while I find out why the clicker is not working. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me for just a moment. There we go. Looks like we got it. In early 2020, we revised the app and began using the platform's work order system as our regular day-to-day program for Public Works to efficiently respond to our community's concerns, as well as to manage our day-to-day operations. There's 2 ways for the residents to access Paramount Works: by either downloading on your phone from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, or visiting ParamountCity.com and selecting Request Services from the Services drop-down menu. You'll see the mobile application here on the left, and then the website layout on the right. Included in the app are important numbers to call, a link to the city website, and helpful information to let residents know that their requests will be handled as soon as possible. The website also has a feature that we're continuing to utilize and expand on, where we include additional information for requests that are not directly addressed by the city. For example, if you select mosquitoes, you'll get information for LA County vector control. Both the website and the app will give you the same list of categories and requests available to you. Each of these has a subset of options. For example, the landscape category here is broken down into the following: fallen or broken tree branch, tree planting, or tree trimming request. Now I'd like to take you step by step through the process so that you can see it firsthand. First, we would be selecting Report New Issue, and you'll select your issue from the list. In this case, we'll select graffiti. At this point, you'll get an important message that says that the requests are not monitored on a 24/7 basis and are addressed during regular business hours, and if you have an emergency, then you should call 911. The next step would be to select Add Photo, and you'll have the chance to take a photo or select a photo from your library to include in your work order. We'll select Take a Photo here, and you'll take a picture of the graffiti. You'll select Use Photo, and your photo will now show up here on the main screen. Next, you can include comments by selecting Add Comments, and then type the description of the graffiti or other important information. The more information that you provide here, the more helpful it is to our staff. You'd select Back, and then your comments will appear here. Next, you'll add your contact information, including your name, your email, or your phone number. And at this point, this information is not required, and you can remain anonymous if desired. You'll select Back, and then your information will show up here. At this point, you'll want to ensure that the yellow crosshairs are where the item is supposed to be. Now, the application uses the GPS on your cell phone, and it gets very close, but occasionally it can be off, and you can just move the map around to ensure that the yellow cross is exactly where the requested item is. Once that's correct, you're going to press Submit, and you'll be given a notification that you have successfully submitted your request. At this point, given that you've provided your contact information, you'll also get an email verification. And now the work order is in our system. It'll get sent directly to the supervisor that's responsible, who will prioritize and delegate the work orders to their staff. As soon as we have completed the request, we will close the work order in the system, and a follow-up email will be sent to the resident letting them know that the request was handled. With the new work order system, we're able to take requests directly from residents using the application, in addition to phone calls received by Public Works office staff, as well as internal requests from other departments. And to show you here is a quick breakdown of the top 5 most used request topics in the program for calendar year 2020, with graffiti being the most used at 788 requests last year. Historically, on average, we receive about 200 requests a month and anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 requests per year. Since its original launch in 2014, we've promoted the application around 10 times on our social media platforms. It's been featured in the Pulse Beat about 5 times, in our local newspaper, the Paramount Journal, and in the Around Town 3 to 4 times. It was also shared with the high school for their pirate news channel and is currently shown on our YouTube channel. As with any system, we've found some minor issues along the way. It should not be used for an emergency, and we feel that message is clear, but we still get a few things occasionally after hours that should have been a direct call into the substation. Sometimes we get incorrect or unclear information. Most commonly, a person might take a picture somewhere and then not submit the request until they get home. So the GPS app will track their current location instead of the location of the photo. And last, while it's good to have the anonymity, sometimes that hinders us from being able to respond back to a resident when a request they've made might not be immediately addressed or if we need any follow-up information. Regardless of the minor issues that we've run into, it really is an easy and effective way for the community to get their concerns to us. Categories can be easily added or removed based on trends. For example, last year when we noticed a lot of extra other requests about fireworks concerns coming into us at Public Works, we were able to add an extra category for public safety to be able to directly receive and respond to these concerns. We've always felt like our community members are an extension of our staff, and they help considerably to let us know if there are any issues out there in their neighborhood so that we can come and help out. We hope that you can help us spread the word to your friends and your family and your neighbors because, honestly, the more users that we get into the system, the better it's going to continue to be for us. And that concludes my presentation, but I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there questions for Sarah?
No questions, but thank you, Sarah, for doing this. That was excellent. Great job.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else? I just want to say thank you to Sarah and that I love the app. It makes it so easy for reporting issues, and especially now that we're all doing a lot more walking to get out into our neighborhoods, it's been really helpful not to have to look around for street names and addresses and just snap a pic and send it in. So I hope more people take advantage of it. It's really an easy way to report issues and not have to be so descriptive because the picture says it all. So thank you again. With that, we are going to move to comments and committee reports from council members. And I'm going to start with Councilmember Guillen.
I don't really have a lot to say other than the last 2 weeks we're just, trying to stay home and keep my family healthy, as I'm sure everyone else is trying to do. My heart continues to go out to the people in the city of Paramount that have had COVID, and then especially to those who have lost family members with COVID. One of the committees that I'm on is for the Metro Transit, and I just want to say that everything is moving along as planned, and that is still moving forward, and that's something that COVID really hasn't been able to stop. So, we're still on track for, I believe it's 2028. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Guillen. Councilmember Aguayo.
Okay, so I actually have been participating in the New Mayors and New Council Members Academy. There's a lot of information. There's also, it's reassuring when, some concerns are addressed with some of the other participants, to listen to some of the issues they have. And it's so nice to know that we are not dealing with those type of issues, that, we're in a pretty great place considering everything that's going on. So that's been really great. I also participated in my first vector control meeting. Who knew? There was so much information. So it's definitely something totally new to me, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. Other than that, just to the residents, there's a lot of stuff going on with, I guess an excitement almost is kind of being felt from a lot of people with some of these, stay-at-home orders kind of being lifted. Just continue to be careful. I think it's really easy for us to get caught up in those moments of, in some places, again, the being able to dine out. And again, it's different for different counties and that type of thing. But wherever you are, whether you're doing, you're shopping here in Paramount, grocery shopping or whatever it is, or whether you have to go to another city, continue to be careful. It's heartbreaking to see people you care about dealing with COVID. So please continue wearing your mask, the washing hands, the sanitizer. I feel like for some of us, it's almost part of our daily life. But again, we've been doing it for so long that maybe, it's scary to think we might forget. And there are consequences to that. So please be safe. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Aguayo. Vice Mayor Olmos?
Thank you, Mayor. No committee updates, but I just actually wanted to give a recognition out to Dave's team, Magda Garcia's team for the Senior Services Department. They were actually on the phone Sunday night, you guys, making calls for appointments for vaccinations for our seniors. They found out that the openings were available. They jumped on phones, started reaching out to the seniors to help, just get them scheduled. Not only that, they were also helping them with their transportation. So kudos to Dave Johnson and his team for the senior services. That was just amazing because, as we all know, that website has not been easy to get through. So again, Dave Johnson, congratulations to your team for recognizing and helping our seniors out. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I echo that, and that so quickly our city manager, Mr. Moreno, designated staff to do that, to work with seniors, help get them registered, get them listed. And as always, he has a magnificent team in the Parks and Recs Department to help him carry out those goals. So I know that we all appreciate all of your hard work. I don't have any committee reports, but I would like to say that I attended the supervisors meeting today via telephone to express Paramount's desire to have a vaccination site here in Paramount, as well as for the county to allow us flexibility to go to other cities who might have health departments such as Long Beach that can issue vaccines. And there were several other cities who were also making that same desire known to the county. And so hopefully we'll see, now that the president is going to be releasing more vaccines to the states, we can see that happen. And with that, we'll move to staff comments.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a few announcements. The first one, speaking of the vaccine, we will have a full report at our next Tuesday's meeting to go over what our latest contributions are going to be to hopefully get a vaccination center here in Paramount, as well as other things that we are doing to assist with that for our residents. We did have a clutter-free drop-off program on Saturday, or an event that took place, and there were 291 vehicles that came through and disposed of almost 19 tons of large, bulky items that would have been otherwise tossed on the alleyways or on the curbs. So that was another successful event that we held. And next, as you know, we are revising, as required by law, the housing element and the environmental justice elements of our general plan. And part of that requirement is for us to hold workshops for the public. And I just want to announce that the English workshop for this is on February 1st, 2021. That's this Monday from 6 to 8. And it is, of course, a virtual workshop. All the information is on the website. So you just have to go to ParamountCity.com to get more information about that. There's also a Spanish workshop for that, and that is on a Wednesday, February 3rd, 6 to 8 p.m., and that is also on Zoom. And again, all this information is on our website, or residents can contact our planning department at 220-2036 for more information on that. And lastly, Mayor, for tonight's meeting, we did receive a public comment speakers card at 5:10 p.m. And this was from Mr. Alfredo Buenuelos. And Mr. Buenuelos, it looks like on a speaker card, wanted to speak about item number 1. At the time that we received this, we were already starting item number 2. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, Mayor, if you wanted to handle this speaker's card tonight or get back to Mr. Buenuelos in some other fashion. Just let us know.
Okay, well, the item's already been approved. I think we'll get back in some fashion. A discussion at this point would be moot.
Okay.
Okay. Is that all you have, John?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With that, on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to offer our prayers and support to Vilma and her husband, Danny, tonight. We're praying everything comes out fine for the both of you. And I want to adjourn tonight's meeting in the name of Mike Valente, whose funeral services were held today. Mike is somebody who was known to a lot of people in our community. He was one of the first people to step up and do school mentorships when we were having those. I remember when we started Breakfast with Santa and we were having difficulty with the logistics of providing so many meals. Mike came to the rescue on behalf of McDonald's and set us all up and made that all super easy for us to provide breakfast for so many families on that day. And he was just overall a very wonderful, caring person who worked in Paramount for years before moving here from Pico Rivera, and he will be sadly missed by many of us. And with that, we stand adjourned until February 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the name of Mike Valente. Thank you, everyone.